Hey everyone, Felipe here. Welcome to another Tower of Saviors card review video. In this video, I'll be taking a look at one of the new Mad Hit original jackpot card, Gratifying him, Cassiel. Cassiel is going to be an Earth God card, and I'll be taking a look at her leader skills, team skills, and active skills, and letting you know my thoughts and opinions about this card. Let's begin with her leader skill. We have that Earth and Light members attack increases by 6 times, and HP and recovery increases by 1.6. If no Dark Runes are dissolved in the first patch, Earth and Light attack increases by 4 times additionally. Now let's take a look at the team skill, since that leader skill was a little bit short. We have that when the leader is gratifying him Cassiel, we have an extended runestone movement time of 4 seconds regardless of enemy skills. Earth, Light, and Heart runes also possess the effect of each other. By dissolving Earth runes, team attack increases by 1.8 times. By dissolving Light runes, each member launches an extra Earth attack and an extra Light attack. By dissolving Heart runes, leader's damage will be dealt regardless of fixed combo shield and equal combo shield. If there are protected runestones upon receiving damage from the enemies, your damage received will be reduced by 80%. And upon entering the last wave, the number of feathers of Cassiel will be restored to 4. If there is a gratifying him Cassiel in the team, now we are going to cover the feathers mechanic. Each gratifying Cassiel will gain 4 feathers after entering the stage, and if you have 0 feathers, Cassiel will launch no attacks. After Dragonic Compulsion, feathers will be restored by 2. And you might be wondering what feathers will be used for. Feathers are only used for activating your active skill. So basically you can activate your skill 4 times, and when you deplete all your feathers, Cassiel will not launch any attacks. In my opinion, this leader is going to be pretty weak. I actually don't think she will be very suited for the current meta. She will be able to deal with a lot of early game content and also late game content, early game content and mid game content, but any late game content or end game content like nightmare stages, ultimate stages, horror stages, things like that, I don't think this card will be very useful for those situations. That is because her damage output is going to be pretty low. Your attack increases by 6 times only, and your times 4 is locked behind a condition that is actually, it's easy to satisfy, but because you cannot dissolve Dark Runes in the first batch, unless you stack them, you might accumulate Dark Runes, and it become harder and harder to not dissolve Dark Runes in the first batch unless you bring a skill that reduces the drop rate of Dark Runes to 0. If you have that, then it will be easy to satisfy the times 4 condition, but compared to Melody, which is the other card released in the same patch, her damage output is going to be really low because you only have a times 6, a times 4, and a times 1.8 if you dissolve Earth runes. You don't have a way of generating extra Earth runes, so it is going to be subject to whichever Earth runes you have on the board, which means that this 1.8 attack bonus also is conditional, which means that you don't have as much damage output in the first place. You do have extra runestone movement time, but in general, I do think her damage is going to be a little bit lacking for the current meta. You also have extra attacks, but the extra attacks don't really mean much if your damage output is pretty low to begin with. And you also have some shield breaking potential, but that is only for the leader, and you can break fixed combo shield and equal combo shield, which is pretty nice. But if you have to run Cassiel as a leader, due to her lower damage output, I do think she will be a little bit less suited to be a leader. You also have the unfortunate effect that if you run out of feathers, your leader will not launch any attacks, because we have that when Cassiel has 0 feathers, it will launch no attacks. And if you're running Cassiel as a leader, that means your leader will not launch attacks, and you might not be able to break these shields with the leader's damage. So overall, I think this card is going to be pretty weak as a leader, but she does have a pretty good active skill, so let's take a look at it. Her active skill is actually CD1, which is the shortest a active skill can be. If you add a dragonware to it, like a cake dragoncraft, she will be ready from the get-go. But In as a result of this low cooldown, you do have a cost in which Cassiel will have to consume 1 feather to activate her skill. By tapping the runestone of uh, by tapping a runestone on the magical circle of elements, you will explode all runestones, including petrified runestones, to generate enchanted god runestones of everything except that type. Modify the top row to become protected runestones. For 1 round, drop rate of runestones of that type will be lowered to 0, and elf and god attack and recovery will be increased by 2 times, and burning will be nullified. In my opinion, this active skill is amazing. It is really powerful because it gets rid of a single type of runestone for 1 round, and if you're working against enemies that prevent you from dissolving, for example, earth runes, you're not able to dissolve fire runes, you're not able to dissolve heart runes, you can just explode all of them and reduce their drop rate to 0, and that means that you don't have to deal with this annoying runestone block. Additionally, if, for example, you have combo nullifying skills, things like that, you can also prevent that, or debuffs that if you dissolve water runes, you have a minus 99% attack reduction, then you can also avoid that by just getting rid of the water drop rate. So in my opinion, CD1 for this type of skill is going to be really, really powerful. However, you are limited by the number of feathers that Cassiel has. So you start with 4 feathers, and each active skill will consume 1 feather. So that means you can activate the skill up to 4 times before you run out of feathers. However, if we look at her team skill, you will recover 2 feathers whenever you activate Dragonary Compulsion. And if you're running Cassiel as a leader, you can recover them by entering the last wave. But as stated before, her leader skill is not that great, even with this active skill. This active skill actually complements her playstyle a lot because you generate protected runestones, which means that you are going to be able to benefit from the minus 80% damage reduction if you receive damage from an enemy. However, being able to survive longer doesn't really help you if your damage output is pretty low anyways. So, in my opinion, even though her active skill benefits her leader skill, I still think she is a little bit lacking as a leader. However, if you're able to slot this card into any teams, you have a CD1 skill that you can activate whenever, and you can just get rid of all runestones, including all board debuffs and petrified runes, and also get rid of the drop rate of a singular runestone type. And one, this is really good because it gets rid of annoying debuffs, annoying board hazards, annoying enemy skills, but it also gives you higher chances of sky drop, and also like higher chances of getting your attacking runes, and also dealing more damage in general. Additionally, if you're running a elf or a god leader or elf and god team, they will get an attack and recovery bonus of ×2, which is going to be pretty significant, and you also ignore burning. And ignoring burning on a CD1 skill is going to be really powerful since you don't have to really stall and store for your cooldowns if you're able to ignore burning from the get-go. But yeah, overall, I mean, she also has some bonding skills, but they're just pretty standard. Pretty standard bonding skills, nothing to write home about. But yeah, overall, as a leader, I do think Cassiel is going to be a little bit lacking, especially for the current meta, but her active skill is going to be really powerful. The downside of it is that you can only activate it 4 times, and up to 8 times if you activate both of your Dragonary Compulsions. However, if you keep in mind, most stages, most ultimate stages are max like 10 rounds, 8 battles, 10 rounds, 10 battles, or 6 battles even. Being able to activate this skill 4 times is actually not a downside, and you might be able to pass the stage without even having to use all 4 activations of it. If you need more, you can run Dragonary Compulsion and gain more, but normally you don't need to activate this skill to deal with every single enemy in the stage, which means that this is going to be pretty good to have in your teams. So yeah, do I recommend pulling for her? She can be easily replaced by other cards in the game. CD1 is really nice, but if you don't plan on pulling for this seal, I would say skip her. because, as I said before, her leader potential is pretty low. Her active skill is really good, but it doesn't really warrant you spending all the diamonds to pull for her. Unlike Melody, which is guaranteed at 100 pulls, Cassiel might not be guaranteed, so you might not get her. So I wouldn't recommend for you to aim for Cassiel. If you are pulling for Melody and get her, great. If not, then I'd say don't worry about it and start saving up for the next collaboration or save for the next Black Gold card. But yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say about this card. And as always, let me know in the comments if I said anything wrong or if I'm missing any information. Um, and yeah, check my YouTube channel for more Tower of Saviors content. But for now, stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you next time. Bye everyone!